They say change is the hardest thing that a person can do. And that's why many of us, when we choose to make a change, make incremental instead of drastic changes. James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, provides wonderful examples for how we can make changes in our lives. One of my favorites is pairing a desired behavior with something that you're already enjoying doing. And I did that when I wanted to incorporate running back into my life again, because I was already enjoying my evening walks. So at the end of my walks, I would just incorporate a small run. First a quarter of a mile, then half a mile, until eventually, when I left my house for my evening exercise, it could either be a 5K walk or a 5K run. But we don't always get to choose when we're going to make changes in our lives. Take, for example, Poe Bronson's book, What Should I Do With My Life? In that book, he chronicles the lives of people who did not get to choose in many cases when they were going to have a change. And that was because they suffered either a job loss or a serious illness, and they had to reevaluate their lives. When 2020 began, I was at a point where I was making some changes. One of them was that I had just assumed the role for the Association of Corporate Counsel Georgia Chapter Presidency. And here at ACC Georgia, we provide programming for continuing legal education, networking and events, and outreach events, and we do everything in person. Our signature events have over 100 people, and we serve food either family style or buffet style. So from January through March, we were doing what we had done in the past, and it was working out really well. But by mid-March, we had the first of two changes that we had to adapt to, because the President of the United States addressed the nation and declared that COVID-19 was a national health emergency. We'd already seen the effects of this disease in other countries and through other parts of the country. But here in Georgia, things started to change pretty quickly after the President's address. Schools started to close and switch to online learning. Many of our members were being told by their companies that they'd have to work from home. And the ones where they were still working in offices or still working out in the field had to figure out ways to do so safely. Grocery stores were experiencing shortages of bleach, toilet paper, and other items. And some people were experiencing job losses, pay cuts, or dealing with family members who had unfortunately contracted the virus. In March, when all of this was occurring, we decided to suspend operations because we really didn't know what was going to happen next. But by mid-April, it was very obvious to us that this was not something that was going to go away soon. And many of our members wanted programming that addressed the many topics that they were dealing with at work. So I asked the board to consider webinars. And we started providing COVID-related programming for our members. And this was going really well. We even paired with another association, GAPABA, and provided a great webinar on how to work from home effectively. But on May 25th, 2020, the second change occurred. And that is when a black man by the name of George Floyd was arrested by police. And in an 8+ minute video, people watched as he begged for his life before he died. And many people who were at home were now going into the streets to protest. And people were talking about social injustice, racial injustice, and being black in America in a way that they hadn't talked about it before. And our members wanted to be part of that conversation. We were fortunate that we had a group of black leaders who agreed to do a town hall to talk about that topic. And we put together an agenda to deal with some of these issues. So we had two changes that we were faced with. And we were able to pivot quickly as an organization to address those changes and help our members navigate through these issues. These are issues that happened in 2020, but these are things that we'll be dealing with beyond 2020 because we're not going back to the way things were before. Companies have realized that people can work well at home and in the office, and there's going to be those changes. That are going to be members who are not going to return to the office. But you know what? we know that we can continue to reach our members no matter where they are, because we made a lot of other changes as well in 2020. For instance, in the past, when a major event occurred, the president of the ACC Georgia chapter could address the membership during one of our monthly luncheons. But we weren't having in-person luncheons anymore. So we addressed them through emails, online. We increased our social media presence. We took our signature events and broke them into smaller events to avoid webinar fatigue. We also did more surveys to make sure that we were addressing issues that were pertinent to our members. And we continued to work with other organizations to provide programming and outreach opportunities for our membership. And also, for me personally, I also saw some other changes, because I created a community online that was just as powerful as a community that I'd had in the past, which was in person. Because throughout all of this, I wasn't always sure what to do next. And I was very fortunate that I could reach out to people in ACC HQ, local legal services associations, legal networking associations, and other associations, and find out what they were doing, and also talk to them about how it was affecting us personally. And that community will continue. Working on topics together, but not having to be in the same room, is something that we've all gotten used to doing. Collaboration tools are being more widely adopted, and we also are realizing that our community stretches beyond where we work and where we live. For instance, I've had several webinars with a group that I was working with in Dubai and in Australia, and could seamlessly then switch to a conversation with a friend in another city. And this kind of community that we've created goes beyond geographic boundaries. So collaboration tools, connecting online, these are things that we'll continue to do. And there are new businesses that are going to be sprouting from this. According to Forbes, the internet economy has increased by 4 to 6 years in 2020 alone. And who knows what will happen in 2021. So we've adapted, we've grown, we've adjusted. We didn't choose these circumstances. These were horrific and terrible circumstances that we've had to experience in 2020. But we were all in this together, and we were all growing from this. And we chose how to adapt and be better and respond to it in a positive way. And so from that, we realize that change is something that, although hard, can be beneficial. It can bring us closer together. It can make us better. It can make us stronger. And that's probably the best lesson that I've learned in 2020. Thank you.